Alright, so hey guys, ChunkySims here. And what I'm gonna do for you today is a tutorial on how to convert stuff in the Sims 3. Now, I am in no shape or form an expert at this, so I'm just gonna show you what I know, and yeah. So what you need for this tutorial is 3ds Max, Milkshake 3D, Photoshop, TSRW, the body message for the Sims 3, the DDS plugins for Photoshop, and the mesh toolkit. And I'll provide links for all of that down below. Alright, so I'm just going to be using one of my meshes that I made previously, and we're just going to do some conversions on it. And so yeah, we'll start in TSR. So now I've already downloaded this file and saved it in a folder, so we're just going to open it up in TSR. Alright, so we're going to go to new import, and next, and go to browse and find the package file. Switch this little thingy down here to package, and this is what we're using right here. Okay, so open that and hit no because it's not a TSR file, and we just wait for TSR to load because yeah, I'm not going to change anything here. So alright, so the only thing I need from this is the mesh and the multiplier file, because I'm going to be like doing this from scratch for you guys, just to show you how I do it. Like I said before, I'm not an expert at this. This is how I do it. If somebody has a better way to do it, let me know. Alright, so I'm going to grab the mesh and save it as an OBJ, because we're going to open it in 3ds Max and do some editing to it. And just name it what you want and save it, and go over the textures, and we want the multiplier. So go to multiplier, edit, and export this file right here. Alright, so export that. Like I said, name it what you want it. I named mine original multi just so I can keep track of it. And then save that. Just hit cancel, and you can close out this file because we're done with this. Alright? And then next we're going to move on to 3ds Max. Cool. And you don't need to save this, so close that out. Cool. Alright, so now we're moving into 3ds Max. And 3ds Max, we're just going to go up here to the little symbol and go to import. And import the OBJ that you just saved from TSR. After you find it. I've got way too many folders in this thing. Probably need to clean this out. Alright. So here. Alright, this file right here. And press open. And don't mess with any of that. Just click import. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the ankles from these, because, we're converting it to adult male. These are child right currently. So we're going to go to element and just select the ankle part and push delete, and make sure you get all of it, and then check the inside to make sure there's nothing on the inside, and then yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna go back and select it all and go to unwrap UVW. Now this is where we're going to be able to edit the UV map on this here. UV mapping sucks. It's like the worst thing ever, and every creator probably agree with me. So for UV mapping for shoes, these two buttons here will allow you to select the pieces of your shoe, like the entire element, without moving points, because if you move points you can really mess up your UV map. And actually I'm gonna go back and import the body meshes that I'm going to use for this. I downloaded my body meshes for a while ago, so mine are separated for the adult male feet. If you're just now downloading, the adult male feet may be in the actual adult male body mesh file. So I'm going to select them both and go to UV mapping, and this is so I can see where the mapping for my shoes needs to be. You try to keep it in this area. If not, the textures from your shoes will show up on other areas of the body, and you don't want that. So everything is blue is for my shoe, and everything in purple is for the feet. And you actually don't want to move anything from the feet. You mess up your skins. So I'm gonna go back and just select the shoe and go back to the UV mapping for just the shoes. Open the editor again, and alright. So when you're doing UV mapping for shoes, you want to try to keep everything in this area. This area right here. I'm gonna draw it for you. 1 second. Right here. This is the space used for shoe mapping. And yeah. So there. Alright. So once you get everything, all the pieces of your shoe down in this little area, we're gonna go to tools and render map, and make sure it's at 1024 by 1024, and push render map, and then we're gonna save it and find folder that you're working out of, and we're gonna save it as a DDS file. And yeah, I like to name mine map 1 or map 2, just so I know that this is the original, the UV map for my shoes, and it can be edited later on in Photoshop. Alright, so we'll save it. Map1.dds. Save, and we want to keep DXT5. Okay, now you can close out all of these dialog boxes and export your mesh as an OBJ. I like to rename mine to, whatever I'm working on, map_mapped or whatever, after I fix the map. And then once you've got that exported, we're going to move into Milkshake. I know it's a lot of programs, but like I said, this is how I learned, so this is how I'm going to teach you guys. Alright, so once that's done, don't mess with any of those settings, and done. And you can just minimize that just in case you need it later on to edit some mapping things. And yeah. Alright, so Milkshake 3D is where I like to do all my resizing. I like it better, sorry. Alright, so we're going to import the OBJ file, the map file that we just saved, and then we'll work on it from there. Alright, so open this, and alright, now what we're going to do is size the shoes to fit the feet, because they're adults. So we're going to select just the shoe, and we're going to go scale. Scale, you want to select origin, and that allows you to do the scaling without the shoes actually moving. So I choose 1.01 for scaling. It scales a little bit at a time, but it's more accurate for me, I guess. And that's how I want to do it. So, alright, scale. I'm going to just click the button until we get it to the size that we like. Try to keep it the same size as the sim foot. And once you got it, then alright, I'm gonna scoot these back just a little bit so they're not right on the back of the ankle. Alright, and then I need to move them on the x-axis a little bit because they're a little bit too close to the side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide the feet, and then I'm gonna select one shoe and move it, and then select the other shoe and move it. Alright, so start with this one and go over to, sorry, my mom called me in the middle of this, but we're gonna go over to move, turn off the Z axis, turn on X, and turn my foot back on so I can see where I need to go. And x-axis, and we're just going to slide it over just a little bit. Alright, and then we're going to do the other shoe, same way, select it. I forgot to turn the foot off, so I'm going to do it now. Turn it back on, so deselect it, and then we're going to move it just a little bit. Alright, and I guess that looks pretty good. Alright, cool. So now we get to make it so we can import it to TSR. So what you want to do is you want to select both layers. Okay, so now we're gonna delete the parts we don't need. So we're gonna select bottom of the foot. I don't need this part. I don't need this part. You know, it's just extra points that you don't, vertices you don't need. You don't need the whole foot in there. So we just keep these part of the ankles, and it's not showing through my shoe anymore, so it's fine. Now we're gonna export it for TSR. So select both layers. You're gonna push regroup, and then rename it to group_base. This has to be done, or TSR get mad at you. And then you push rename, and you're gonna export it as TSR object, which is the WSO. I saved mine as, you know, AM Jordan, because that's what they are, and it makes sense to me. So yeah. Alright, and now we're gonna move into TSR. Yay, TSR. Alright, open TSR. It's gonna take a minute, so. Alright, in TSR, we're gonna create a new file and choose clothing. And this usually takes the longest amount of time ever, so I'm gonna just show you this first little bit, and then I'm just gonna pause the video until it's loaded, and we'll pick up from there. Alright, so we want to go to human and child. No, wait, we're doing child to adult, so I want to go to young adult, male, and everyday. Now we just gotta let it load. Alright, so now my thing is loaded, so now we're just gonna select shoe. I'm gonna select this shoe right here. You can select any shoe you want, but this is the one I'm gonna do. Alright, hit next, and what you want to do here is give your file a unique name, something that no other file has in your game. So I'm gonna name mine, I always do mine, you know, the age group _CS for ChunkySims, and then name it whatever I'm working on. Right now I'm just gonna name it Jordan Tutorial. Alright, and then once you got that, you can give your project a name. I'm just gonna name it Tutorial, and then I'm gonna push next, and okay, and wait for this to open. Loading. If I sound like I'm rambling, guys, just know that I had to do all the video stuff before I did the audio, so I really don't know what to say. Alright, so here I'm just gonna change these pants to shorts, since we're working on shoes, so I can see everything that I'm doing with my shoes. And oh my god, this takes so long to load, always. Alright, switch to the shorts. And come on. Alright, so now we're gonna go to mesh. Go into the mesh palette and select high level mesh. First, I'm gonna export these to use as a reference mesh to create my bones and my morphs for my shoes. And just name it whatever and export it and hit OK. Now we're gonna go down to the mesh toolkit, and we're gonna go to auto tool for WSO. go to select. For the first little entry there, you use the shoes that you made, or the mesh that you made, and that's what you load there. And in the second one, you load your reference mesh, and click the button down there to do the assignments. I always name mine whatever is B for bones, and then you do the same thing in the Morse palette, and I always put an M at the end of the file name for this for Morse. Alright. And now you're going to import it into TSR and select the one that ends in M. Hit OK. No. Yes. And then you wait. And after this loads, you're going to save. I cannot emphasize to you enough the importance of saving when working with TSR. TSR will crash, so please save, and save often. Alright, just save it in your folder and then open Photoshop, because now we're going to move into Photoshop and creating our textures and everything. Okay, cool. Photoshop. Alright, now we're in Photoshop. What we're going to do is we're going to open our map 1 DDS file that we made in 3ds Max. Just drag it over and click OK. So this first we're going to make is our multiplier. So in the layers panel, you're going to grab your magic wand tool. You're going to select the black. Hit Control Shift I to invert your selection. Make a new layer, and then go to select, modify, expand, and increase this by 1 pixel. Now you're going to edit and fill with 50% gray. And while it's still selected, go over to your channels, select your alpha layer, and fill with white. Now you essentially have a multiplier. You can go with just this and be fine, or you can just add your textures on top of it. So now we're going to save it as a DDS file. I'm going to name it multiplier and hit save, yes, or export, and then go back to TSR and import it in your multiplier editor, and it's in the DDS file. Alright, and save, and boom, there we go. You can look around, see that my textures now fit my shoes, and now we can overlay the actual textures of the shoe on top of this. And so we're gonna open that, and I'm just gonna delete out the background here so we can see what we're working with. Delete. And I'm not gonna do the entire shoe. I'm just gonna do some of it just so you can see how it works. So I'm gonna select this part and bring it over, copy it, and paste it into my other file. Zoom in here so you can see. Paste. Alright. So I'm gonna move this so it fits right there. Right there. And I'm gonna create a clipping mask. And you just hold Control and click in between the 2 layers. And size this to fit. And once done, I'm gonna darken this a little bit. Change so, because if it's too bright, when you change your shoe color to white on in this game, it'll make it like bright white, and we don't want that. It'll kind of make the textures disappear. So first I'm gonna desaturate it so it's all in grayscale, and then I'm gonna turn down the brightness and the contrast just a little bit. It'll give you a better looking texture. Alright, and then I'm just gonna flatten this image and save it. Just save as, and go back to the DDS folder and just save it over our previous multiplier. Okay, save, back in TSR, edit, multiplier, import, and yep, click yes here. This is just gonna replace the file that we currently have. If you're doing like multiple textures and you want to change the multiplier on like a different setting, then you would click no, and that would create a new one for you. And had a little bit of white there on the toe, so I'm gonna go in here and see right there, and I'm just gonna go in here and first I'm gonna delete the mask to make sure that's not what's affecting it, the old mask. So you know, that looks pretty good. Just gonna add a little piece here, and then we're gonna make a mask. The mask is where to allow you to make recolors of your shoes in Sims 3. And so yeah, we're gonna save this again, re-import it. I did a little bit of maneuvering on it, and then we're gonna make the mask. How in the world do I cut this down? Because I don't want all of this video in here. I'm gonna have to play around with this program. Again, like I said, if I'm rambling, it's because I've already recorded the video and now I have to do the audio voiceover. And yeah, rambling seems like the best thing to do at the moment instead of awkward silence. Like, all right, are we gonna make the mask now? Yeah, looks good. Show off those shoes. Yay, we're gonna make the mask. Alright, so for the mask, you use 3 colors. You use red, yellow, and magenta. And that's pure red, pure yellow, and pure magenta. So, what we're gonna do is first is we're gonna make a new layer, and we're gonna fill that layer with red, because red is like your main color. It's the first channel in your recolor thingy material. I don't know what to call it, but red is the first channel. Red is the first channel, yellow is the second channel, magenta is the third channel, and your alpha layer is the fourth channel if you need 4 channels, so you can have 4 sections of recolor. Alright, so we're gonna make the red. I'm gonna turn the red layer off so we can make everything else. I want the bottom part here to be yellow, so I'm gonna select this area and we're gonna turn that yellow. Now, these shoes really don't need 4 channels, but I'm gonna show you all 4 channels just so you know how to do it. So, like I said, this is gonna be yellow, and this code is 255.255.0 in the RGB section. And then I'm gonna do the magenta layer, and for magenta the code is 255.0.255. Then now for the alpha layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select I'm going to edit this part. So I'm going to go back to my layers and I'm going to select this little selection right here, there, and there. So that's what I want to be my fourth color. Go to channels, alpha. I'm going to Control Shift I to select the inverse, and then I push delete. And I don't want to delete, but I'm going to fill it with black. So now everything that's in white, only the white part will be the fourth channel. Alright, so you turn the red layer back on, you flatten the image, save it, and then you import it in the mask section in TSR. Okay. Import it in TSR. Now you know how to make 4-channel recolors. Alright, so what we're going to do next is make the specular. Now what specular does is it controls the shininess of the shoe. You know, have you seen in the game how some of the shoes are super shiny? And that's what's gonna help. So you're gonna just open the your multiplier layer and go to brightness contrast, turn down the brightness all the way, turn up the contrast all the way. You should get almost pitch blackness. And you wanna save that as specular and import it into TSR. And so now that you have a super dark specular, it'll stop your shoes from being super shiny, because shiny is ugly in the Sims 3, unless it's like supposed to be shiny. Alright, and then I'm gonna show you how to make an overlay. Now, these shoes don't need an overlay, but say if I wanted to add the Jordan logo to the tongue of the shoe, and I can do that. So like if I wanted to put it like right there, so I'm gonna go get a Jordan logo from the internet. This video recording software is wreaking havoc on my memory, so it's gonna take a minute for it to load. Alright. Jordan logo. Open the image, view image, and then I'm just going to drag it over into Photoshop. And now since this is a PNG, it's going to show up as a blank image, but I'm going to alphas and select the white in the middle and just paste it into my file. And now whatever color this Jordan logo is in here, it is going to be on your shoe. This is not a recolorable thing. This is an overlay. This doesn't change. So to size it, I'm gonna put it right there, and then go into my alpha layer on my shoe, and I'm gonna just fill the entire thing with black, and then go back and select the Jordan layer, and then fill that with white, and save it. Oh, well, player wasn't selected, so I couldn't fill it. Alright, and select it, and save it. Alright, name it overlay.dds, save it in the DDS folder, and then import it in TSR in the overlay section. Alright, and then that's how you make all of the pieces of the textures. The multiplier, the specular, the mask, and the overlay. That's really all you need for your clothing items. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into, I'm just going to close all these. We're going to go to the materials part. So we go back to mesh, and there's like material, and you're going to click on the little ellipses there. Alright, so first one you're going to open, and you're going to click browse instead of import this time, because you've already got these files in your folder, in the project. So you're just going to go in there, you're going to find your multiplier for the first two, and you're just going to click OK. Now this one right here is a bump map. We're going to skip over this now and do the specular, and then come back to it. So browse specular, and find this specular, and then click OK. And now this normal map. Now the normal map is like, it adds an extra dimension to textures. Like if you got flat mesh like this and you want to do a bump map for it to give it some more dimensions, you can. Not all things need a bump map, and sometimes if you put a bump map on something that doesn't need it, it'll look bad. But I'm going to teach you how to make a bump map, just so you know. So alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to open the multiplier, and I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, and then you're going to go to image, and you're going to go to adjustments, brightness, contrast. You're going to turn the contrast up to about 30, and you probably don't want to do too much more. And you're going to click OK, and then you're going to go to filter, and you'll go down to NVIDIA and click there. Now you want to make sure the invert Y is selected, and then leave that and make sure scale 1.0 and click OK. Now this is where it gets a little confusing. In your channels, what you want to do is go to the red channel. Now select, hit Control A, and then Control C to copy. You're going to paste that onto your alpha layer. Now you're going to go to the green alpha channel, Control A, Control C, and you're going to paste that into the red and the blue alpha layer, channel layers. And once you do that, you're going to save it. I always save mine as bump map, and then you're going to import it into the normal map section in TSR. That's it. You have now successfully converted a mesh, and now all that's left to do is export your mesh. You can do the medium and the low if you want to. I usually don't bother with them, because if you're on CC and Sims 3, you're not playing on either of those settings. Alright, so you can export it to your Sims 3 pack through the file. If you want to do a package file, you go to edit and then view resources, and then you can go to export to package, name it what you want to name it, and click OK. And that's it, guys. I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and see ya.